Hi, in this video we are going to measure the degree of content tuning required to rank well for a search term. What we've done is we've run the search for SEO tips 2017 through Cora SEO software, and we are looking at the output file to try to figure out what degree of content tuning we need to rank well for the search term. Again, SEO tips 2017. So on the summary tab, it gives us our recommendations, and we can see that they're all in the same type of formatting. It tells us this is a strong correlation, tune pages for +1s in Google API for the URL with a value of at least 16. It's saying this URL that you're trying to rank should have at least 16 Google +1s. That appeared to statistically correlate with rank position. Next, it says tune pages for matches in canonical URL with at least a value of 2. So in your canonical URL, you want 2 at least partial keyword matches. Tune words in the web page strip text with a value of at least 1,882. All right, so obviously these can be somewhat perplexing, because now it's saying that once you strip out the HTML from the web page, you want at least 1,900 words on the page. And so you might need to go look at some of your competitors and see what they're doing, because it could be a long form article. It could be that they have a lot of product information. It could be that they have a comment thread, and the comment thread adds to it. So you kind of want to go and investigate, see what your successful competitors are doing to get some of these measurements, and to not incur any penalties from Google. There are right things to do and wrong things to do. And if you simply look at the measurement and say, oh, well, I need to use my keyword 1,900 times, well, that's probably going to get you into trouble, either with Google or it'll scare away your customers. So when you see a measurement like that, you have to go and investigate. And there are some that are absolutely astronomical. So we could say tune pages in Bing, in Bing site search for the host name to have at least 45 million pages. So obviously you can't do that. You can't just make a 45 million page. But what the software is telling you there is that it found a correlation that the size of your site being larger correlates with rank position. And it's trying to get you to number 1, and the person in the top spot had 45 million pages on their website. Obviously, you can't compete like that. But what you can do is try to compensate elsewhere with a different factor. So sometimes you'll come across things that you just can't compete with, and you just have to move on. And usually having a website with 45 million pages is something that we just can't compete with. But as you can see, by looking at these recommendations, we can see how much work it's going to take to really rank well for this keyword. We can find a handful of these. We could try to get all of them, but we could actually scope out what that work is, because we tell you. And this work comes from the overview tab. So if we look at the overview tab, we have all of our factors by row, and then we have all of the measurements. So here are the average factor measurements by page. So the average result on page 1 had this, the average result on page 2 had that, and then we have all of the factor measurements for each result for the top 100 results. And from these measurements, we can calculate our correlation coefficients. And that's how well did this factor trend with rank position. And the recommendations, the degree of tuning, is coming out of the measurements. So we have the page one averages, and we have these special values that you'll see that often get referred to in certain scenarios as to how we pull the content tuning recommendations. And this is how we determine the degree of tuning that a keyword needs. And every search term has a totally different degree of tuning. Some take a lot less, some take a lot more. There is no one formula for how much tuning you need to do. You need to measure each and every time if you want to maximize your effectiveness but minimize the amount of work you're doing. Thank you.